In this episode, I'm going to answer your questions about Darktable. Let's go. And then this is the first question from Andrew Kerr. Guys, I am a newbie with Darktable, but I love it. I am just having problems editing multiple masks in one module. Let's say I want to apply an extra exposure boost EV +1 to the girl in the photo, and then another exposure boost EV 0.5 to the car, and then reduce overall exposure of the photo by a third of a stop. I guess all I am asking is, how do I edit each mask on its own? Is there a way? In Lightroom, each mask has its own handle, and so I could edit and apply settings to each mask individually, and if possible, I would like to have that creative freedom in Darktable. And let me give you the answer to this question. The sky looks properly exposed, except for everything else. Now let's say I want to keep the sky as is, and I want everything else to be affected. If we use the exposure module and we're going to use a mask, we're going to use a drawn mask, and we're going to use the brush, I can either paint over the sky, click this little symbol right here to invert the mask so that everything will be affected except for the sky, or we can just paint over everything over here. So let me just do it. This is just for demonstration purposes, but let's say I want this to be affected, everything, and then this as well, and then another one over the tower. There you go. So this is what's going to be affected. And now if I click this little symbol, the mask disappears, but if I increase this, you see that the exposure is being increased over here, and if I decrease it, it's affecting the same area. Obviously this doesn't look good, but this is how you can just do everything. Now let's say you want several things to happen within this image. Now let's say you want to use several things. So we need more exposure within the tower, we need less exposure here, and we need more exposure within these flowers. You need different instances for that. So let's say I'm going to use a drawn mask and a brush again. I'm going to paint over this tower. There you go. I'm going to increase the exposure to bring it out. I'm going to feather it. There we go. And now I want several values to be used for the rest. I can't use the same mask anymore because that will apply the same effects. So if we click this little symbol right here and we click new instance, that will give us a new exposure instance. We can create a new mask, and in this case I'm going to paint over the roof. And let's say we want to use the same thing over the building. So let me just paint over here. Now if I move the slider again, you see that both areas are being affected just as much. We're going to feather it. So we've got 1.68. And now let's say we want to do the flower heads with a different value. Once again, new instance. I'm going to paint over the flower heads to make sure that they get their own values, and then maybe bring them up just a little bit. There you go. So now we've used several instances of the exposure module, each having their own values, 0.9, 1.6, and 1.7. And that's the answer to your question, Andrew, and I hope it will help you in future photos. The next question from Edward Zwajager. Does anyone have free presets to offer for the beginner? That has to do with the fact that Darktable allows you to use styles. You can create your own style. So if you have an image that you've edited and you want to save that style, you can click this symbol right here and you can create a style. And you can decide which ones you want to be applied to that image. And then if you've saved it by using a name, you can apply it by going to this symbol right here, and then you will see the styles. I don't have styles right now, but that's how you can add styles. However, in this case, you can use LUTs. I'm a little bit against it because it defeats the purpose of learning how to edit your photos your own way, but it can be a great starting point. The best way is to go to Google, fill in free LUTs, click this rocket stock one, 35 free LUTs for color grading. You can download LUTs which you can use in Darktable. And after you've downloaded it, you need to go to Darktable and use the LUT 3D module. I made a separate video about this. I'll link it in the description down below. And you need the right folder where your LUTs are stored. And then if you select that one, you can use your LUTs. And finding the right folder means going to the settings and then go to processing and make sure you use this folder. So the 3D LUT root folder. It's set to none right now, but you'll need to select the right one where you've stored your LUTs, and then you can use LUTs in Darktable. Then the next question from Taz71. Great vid. My Canon M50 RAW files don't seem to work with Darktable. Is it a waste of time editing the JPEG files in Darktable? The M50 shoots in CR3. You can't use it right now, but you can build a version which can. So I made a video on how to use CR3 photos in Darktable. I'll link that in the description down below, but there's also a way to build your own. So if that's something that you're into, feel free to do so because it will be supported in Darktable. But to answer his question, is it a waste of time editing the JPEG files in Darktable? No, it's not. You can still edit your JPEGs. However, they will fall apart way more easily than your RAW files. They will have all kinds of curves pre-applied to the image and it won't be as flexible as just working with a RAW file like this. So please keep that in mind when you're going to edit a JPEG. Then the next question from David Knowles. Great, thanks Rico, as always helpful. Good to see you back. Are you busy being a dad? Yes, I am. Here you see me bottle feeding our daughter. It's the best feeling ever, but yes, I'm busy being a dad. And the next question from Beldon Gonsalves. Bro, is it possible to export a Darktable style preset and use it into Lightroom or DaVinci Resolve? Thanks in advance. Unfortunately, no, we can't. You can't export .cube files from Darktable, so every style you make in Darktable can't be used in Lightroom or DaVinci. However, it can be used vice versa. So I hope that makes up for it a little bit, but once again, you can't export your styles from Darktable to use in those programs. Then the next question from Mahamud Sufi. Hey Rico, can you make a video about how to update Darktable? Can you just download it again or do you have to do something else? Can you please help because I can't find a clear explanation somewhere else and I don't want to ruin it. One last thing, is the way you update Darktable on Windows exactly the same on Mac or do you need to do something else to update it on Mac? Well, it's exactly the same thing, and how I update my Darktable is I go to the releases page of Darktable by going to Google and then Darktable GitHub release or Darktable 3.6.1 release. It will take me to this page and then on the bottom page you will have your download files. I'm on Windows, so I use Windows, and then you'll need to install it just the same way you install everything else. And then the first time you boot it up, it will say that you'll need to update the library and just click update and everything will be fine. So that's how you can update Darktable, Mahamud, and I hope it was helpful and it's the same way on Mac. And then the next question from Geoffrey Raven. Hi man, thank you for the tutorial. Could you tell me how to activate the slider to check the difference between the original and the edited picture? Thank you. Yes, I can. Here we have an image that I've just edited. If I want to see before and after, I need to click this little symbol, so the snapshot one. Take a snapshot, it will take a snapshot. And then I need to go back to the first one before I made any changes, which was this one. I need to select the snapshot and there you go. Now I have a slider that I can move from the left to the right and back again. That's how you can check a before and after. What you can do as well is you can click this little symbol right here and it will change your view. So right now I need to move to the left to reveal the other image, or I can just go from the top to the bottom. And then we've got a question from Phil Coop. Have they changed every name of the modules in 3.6? No, they haven't, but some modules have been obsolete. So they removed those and you now need to use different modules to get the same type of results. And the next question made me Google because Leo J. Phillip said, please show how to edit like ABC photographer in Darktable. You can ask subscribers to vote for photographer and then make a video. That had to do with the fact that I made a community post asking what can I do to increase the value of my channel. So he came with the ABC photographer or photography and I was like, what is that? And that's apparently this, that you go and photograph things outside that resemble letters. So we've got the A, the B, the C, the D, the E, the F, the G, the H. It's very, very creative. Basically, the edit process is the same like any other photo, but this definitely takes some creativity and imagination, and I think it's a very cool way to photograph. So I might just do this in the future as well. Because it makes me think of this. Animal shapes within the clouds. How many times have you seen a cloud and you went like, hey, that looks like an animal? So this looks like a dog, for instance. Obviously, some of these will be Photoshopped, but sometimes when I walk outside and look at a cloud, I see an animal. So that really made me think of this. And then the final question from Alex K. Dear Lord, eyeballing your tiny mouse pointer and minuscule text is so hard considering that app layout options change with new versions. Any chance you can zoom in when making changes so we can clearly see the options you select? When I use Premiere Pro, I could. Now that I'm using DaVinci Resolve, it's a little bit more tedious and it's harder to do. So instead, what I've done is I've downloaded a mouse highlighter, so that way you can see where my mouse is going and you can follow along more easily. So Alex, I hope that's an answer to your question. And that was it. 10 questions you guys have asked me. I hope you all like it. Let me know in the comment section and I'll see you the next time. Doei!